What's up guys, Kuroo here and today with a new video. So I wanted to make a unit review or a banner review. And I know it's a few days later, but I think it's way better this way. Because on the first day, who really knows which units are supposed to be good and which are supposed to be bad. So yeah, that's why it's coming now. And because there's been a lot of controversy regarding these units, because people say they're lacking damage and stuff like this, so why don't we take a closer look. So for this video I'm also going to use the SAO memory defrag damage calculator made by Red Sounds. If you don't know him, he's a really good SAO player and yeah, really smart dude, and yeah, definitely check it out. I will put the link down in the description below. So now let's jump right into the banner. So it's a step-up scout where there are two raid ups with the characters Asuna and Alice. Then we have Xenon, and lastly we have Lisbeth. So the stats wise they look pretty good, pretty decent, but these stats never say anything about their SS3 damage and stuff like this. But first let's take a quick look at how they actually are. So auto attack speed for Asuna, pretty usual stuff for rapier units, pretty good, pretty fast, and but the MP regeneration for rapier units isn't that high. Shooting star, SS1, pretty usual. SS2, neutron, I don't really like neutron as an SS2 just because it's a little bit slower. And the SS3 is pretty good because you have a teleportation behind the enemy and you jump up, so you can dodge really much. Next up we have Alice. Alice auto attack speed is actually pretty good, pretty fast for a sword unit. SS1, Vorpal Strike, usual stuff. SS2, vertical square, kind of slow, so I don't really like it. And the SS3 is a little bit like Bright Asuna's, but on the slower side, just because of the many hits of the 7 hit combo. And if you turn off the auto approach move, you can actually cover quite a distance with the SS3, which makes it actually pretty good. And yeah, but the problem is that it's a little bit slow. And next up we have Xenon. The auto attack speed for both is really good, especially on the last shot where you get 3 hits. SS1, usual stuff. SS2 has a pretty high penetration. And Xenon actually teleports behind the enemy and covers quite a distance, so that's actually really good in my opinion. And lastly we have Lisbeth. So auto attack speed for mace units nowadays is actually pretty good, and because of the high MP regeneration you can use a lot of SS3s. So I think mace units are really decent right now. And yeah, SS3 covers a distance and you can shoot it from almost any position, so it's actually really strong and very versatile. So for this banner I actually, in my personal opinion, I've used them in the ranking events, or a lot of them, and I will definitely say I would say Lisbeth is the best, followed by Xenon and Asuna, just because Lisbeth has the ability to use the SS3 from any angle and you can switch into another unit this way without taking a hit or taking 2 hits. For example, if a boss does more than 1 hit, then you are most likely getting hit even if you have a shield, so Lisbeth can avoid this. Same goes for Xenon most likely, because she just teleports a little bit further away from the enemy. Asuna can also almost do the same because she's jumping over it, but on the last hit she will actually land on the ground again. And yeah, the problem with Alice is it's just too slow, the SS3, and she flies way too far, so that's kind of annoying and kind of a problem. So yeah, now let's take a look at this. Okay, that's the wrong one. At this damage calculator. I think that's the interesting stuff. Give me a second, I'm getting my screen capture away. Okay. So yeah, damage calculator, for those of you who don't know how to use it, it's a pretty handy tool to see how much damage all units do against elemental bosses and stuff like this. So first up we're going to look at Asuna. So as she is from the water element, we're going to choose fire, and this shows us all the units doing water, or all the water units doing their damage stuff like this. So as you can see, we only have the 4 stars right now. We can turn it into 5 stars, which would show us how these units would do if they are 5 stars. And yeah, let's just do it this way. First up we have the skill connect Kirito. Many of you may wonder why he is at #1 spot, but he just does the most damage of all the units right now. That's raw SS3 damage, so it's not his DPS. His SS3 speed is really slow, so that's why he's not really usable, but his damage is really high. So that's why he's up there. And as we can see, we can't see Asuna at the first page here, I think. Give me a second. And nope, Asuna still couldn't be found. So where is the Asuna? So she's here. That's our Asuna here. And as we can see, she's pretty down here. She's on the 34th spot. And yeah. So it's equipped with her usual weapon with the Breastplate of Serenity. So that's the items used to calculate the stuff. And it's on level 80. And yeah, MP cost and possible MP and stuff like this, all here. Here, her SS3 skill duration is 1.65 seconds and her combination skill duration is 1.06. So it's actually pretty fast, pretty good. The thing you need to know is that these units don't have these elemental skill slots. So they don't have like level up till level 2 for the element skills, which means 10% bonus damage against the element. Instead they have their skill slots for combo windows, which means if you have a 30 plus combo, then you're going to do more damage. And yeah, why is it like this that these units lack this SS3 damage? So it's true that they are weaker damage wise, but they just have this really strong ability of using your SS3 as a switch-in skill. And especially with these new 5-star characters, I can see that Bamco actually made a pretty good choice in making these units a little bit weaker damage-wise, because they are way more versatile and you can use them in almost every ranking event, just because of their SS3 switching, and you can use another unit after this. So if you have like 2 shield units, you can do a lot of different stuff, especially if you have one of these older beach units or stuff like this. You can just use 2 of these and probably avoid most of the damage. So that's why they're lacking in damage, otherwise they would just be broken. And yeah, let's take a look at the other characters. So Asuna, spot 33, 34. So if you have like this 5-star Sachi, which also has a switching skill, then I think you don't really need this Asuna. If you have the Sachi, of course, because the Sachi also can cover quite a distance and get behind the enemy. If you have like no, or if you have this Leafer, then you are also pretty good. But she only has a shield, no switch-in units, so that's why her damage is higher. But of course, you don't have the ability to just switch in. If you can switch in, you can actually save a lot of time. That's why the switching skill is really strong, actually. So let's take a look at the next unit, which should be Alice. So you just turn on the earth element and you were getting shown all the characters doing their different their damage, SS3 damage. So where is our Alice? There she is. There's the beauty Alice. So she's actually on spot 19 here, and her damage is 274,567, which is actually pretty good. So her SS3 duration is 1.76 and her combination skill duration is 1.26. So her skill duration isn't actually that much longer than Asuna's, but if you look at the combination skill duration, it's quite a bit longer than Asuna's. So that's why the best case in using those characters would be using Asuna into Alice. But as I already said, because of their switching skills, their damage are a little bit lacking. This is for all these units here, but I'm just going to show you the other units anyway. So after this we go to the fire tree and we get to see all the fire units. And actually Xenon is on spot 13, which is pretty interesting. It's pretty high up, as you can see, even though it's against water units. This skill connectivity is still pretty much up with the top, but as I said, this SS3 is really slow, so just ignore this for a second. And yeah, where was the Xenon? Oh yeah, she's on spot 13. SS3 duration would be 1.83 seconds, but as a combination skill it's only 0.88 seconds, so it's really fast. That's why I think Xenon is one of the better characters in this banner. And lastly we have Lisbeth. Earth was strong against water, right? So where is our Lisbeth? Our Lisbeth is actually on in the top 9. That's just because we don't have that many Earth units. But if we're talking about this, Lisbeth is on spot number 9, and as you can see, Yukata Rain is on like... where is she even? Yukata Rain is on like spot 25, so we don't really need to talk about SS3 damage. As you guys know, SS3 damage isn't everything. I know it matters a lot, but I think the versatility of these characters is way more important. So Lisbeth, let's take a look at her. So her SS3 duration usually is 1.2 seconds, which no, it's 2.15 seconds, which is actually pretty long. And her combination skill would be 1.2 seconds, which is acceptable. It's almost like the same as Alice, but if you use her after Xenon, it's really fast. So, would I recommend you pulling this banner? So there are different kind of scenarios on whether you should pull this banner or not. Personally, I think just because of the shield and the switch-in skill, they are pretty good, pretty decent. Damage isn't everything in this game. It's about the tactics. You can use it to dodge a lot of abilities and save time this way. But of course, if you don't have the weapons or anything for these characters, they might be a little weak compared to other characters, even if you parry into stuff like this. So yeah, if I were you guys, I would probably wait. We are most likely going to get another New Year's banner. And in this we might get the dual blade characters, who knows, but I think they will also have the same ability, damage cancelling shield, maybe from the other elements. So if you don't have absolutely no elemental characters from this element and no neutral characters, then you should definitely try to scout on this banner. But if you have, or if you don't need them for the ranking events, then you can as well skip this banner if you already have some shielding characters or switching characters. So it's all up to you. So switch-in characters aren't that many coming out all the time. So if you have like none of those, then you should definitely try to get at least one of those characters. It will help you in the long run, especially with their combination or combo window skill instead of the elemental bonus damage. I think you can also use them against other elemental bosses and it will still be pretty good. So that's my view on these units. Tell me down in the comments below what you guys think about it, if you want to pull them or not, and your reasonings. I know they seem a little bit weak compared to other banners maybe, or maybe many people out there say it's a bait banner, but overall I would say that they're still pretty good. And I would say, yeah, Xenon, Lisbeth is still my top favorite banner, because you can use the SS3 from afar and switch into another character, just like the anniversary Lisbeth. So that's a really handy move to do. And after this I would say Xenon, just because her SS3 also allows you to get a little bit further away from the enemy, which allows you to switch into another character. And her SS3 is pretty fast and damage is also pretty good. Then we got Asuna, which is my number 3 spot, just because yeah, it's a fast SS3, you land behind the enemy, you jump up, and the problem is that for the last hit you're coming down again, so you need to time it either really well to avoid most of the damage, or yeah, you're just going to get hit. And lastly we have Alice, just because her SS3 is pretty good actually. It's similar to the Bright Asuna's SS3, but it just takes a little bit too long for 7 hits. So yeah. And another plus point for this Lisbeth is that she generates 9 hit combos, which helps her in regards of her combo skill slot. Yeah, so this time combo hits are actually pretty important, and all the other units give you 7 hits, so Xenon is pretty fast regarding making combos as well as Lisbeth, so that's why those two are my 2 favorite picks for this banner. I hope this can help a few of you to decide whether you want to pull or not. As I already said, if you don't need them for the ranking event, then you should definitely wait for the next banner. I think it should come out in like today is Tuesday, in like 5 to 6 days, so you should probably wait a little bit and see whether you want to pull on this or not. I think the ranking event will stay till Saturday, I'm not so sure right now, but yeah. So that's it for this video guys, thanks for watching. If you liked it, then please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as this helps me out a lot, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Peace.